Well, hello. It's time for Mutants and Masterminds Monday. It's a weekly program dedicated to Mutants and Masterminds, the only superhero role-playing game on the planet. Don't believe me? Just ask. Today, we're talking about running big comic book style events around your table. Who in chat can hear me speaking? GM Square says howdy howdy, good. Lurking is what the cool and or creepa do. Well, yeah, she can be cool and crippa, I guess. Crippa?
Indeed.
Crippa. Thank you, Devious. You can hear me. Good, good, good. Raymond's lurking. Jason says sup. Sup, y'all. Looking. Well, yeah, so, this program is brought to you by Green Ronin Publishing, and we have a couple Green Roniners right here. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Green Roniners? That doesn't sound right.
Hello. We actually prefer Green Ronin or Nieners.
Neener. Let's see. How is that for my audio? Is that a little better? A little better? Friends out there in the world?
Okay.
I wonder if, I could just turn this music down just a smidge. You can just call me Jay Gray. Oh, good to see you, Gray. Jay Gray. We know who you are, friend.
Oh, here under an assumed handle.
I see. Yeah, right. We're kind of keeping it low key. Tempo's here. Good to see you. Let me know, Raymond, if I sound better. Hey, Curly Insane Guy. A couple of guys. And that's these guys here, Alex and Steve. We three come to you every week, and today we're talking about running big comic book style events, and I realized I did not grab the person responsible for this. I'll tell you, it flummoxed me for just a moment. I was like, and then Alex and Steve just came up with just about 40 or 50 different great ideas that were like, oh yeah, okay. It's not too similar to last week's topic that we can't pull out some really interesting stuff to talk about.
Absolutely.
Which I love.
But if you are watching all of the Mutants and Masterminds Monday, last week's discussion is a good pairing with this week's discussion.
Sure is. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You need a double feature and a parfait.
This was came from the mind of Paul Rua. Excellent. Which is nice.
Yeah,
he's a smart guy.
Unfortunately, it's probably too early in Australia for Paul to join us.
Usually he's here. He generally, poor guy has really changed his schedule to be on art. So he spends his days early in the morning, and then ends up staying up late. But okay, so let's talk about it. Running big comic book style events. What's the gist here? What's from you two? What do you think the core kernel bit of information is for folks to know about this?
Well, I think that when you're trying to match a big comic book style event, usually one of the key things that you're going to be looking at is the notion of a lot of crossover, a lot of guest stars, a lot of involving other parts of your setting, other characters who might not normally be involved. In fact, quite possibly involving as much of your setting at once as you can.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alex,
I think it's pretty much anything that really shakes up the status quo of what's going on in your game. That can be anything from bringing a bunch of characters who don't usually interact together into a big scenario. It could be something as sort of off the cuff as we were having a one shot where we're going into the TV land, like into the Idiot Box, I think is a good example of a shake up kind of mega event or big crossover event. Something like a Freaky Friday situation where your player characters' bodies swap and they change their powers and character sheets for a couple of episodes. There's scalability of this kind of concept, right? There's, not every group is going to have, everybody playing 2 or 3 player characters and having like a cast of 14 superheroes to bring together for a story. But I think any group can benefit from some of the philosophies we're going to be talking about for
Yeah.
big events like this.
And
Oh, go ahead, please.
well, and because I was saying we're talking about comic book events. Generally speaking, we're talking about a fairly extended story.
Mhm.
A story arc that can be told, depending on the event, anywhere from usually 6 to 12 issues or so, oftentimes. So it's not just a change of pace adventure
Mhm.
where things are different for one story. It's also a whole long series of events that play out over a fairly good sized story.
Mhm.
Yeah, it also strikes me that big comic book events, the stakes are higher.
Usually, yeah,
Yeah,
they tend to
Mhm.
be quite high.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to think of other elements of big comic book style events that we would want to touch on that are kind of common trope stuff. Like, like the stakes are higher in that there's maybe some transdimensionalism going on.
Well, they can
Otherworldly things happening. Go ahead.
they can vary a lot. I think King Snarf brings up an interesting point talking about event like Identity Crisis. I wouldn't necessarily say the stakes in Identity Crisis are small. They're just very, very personal.
Mm.
And they're focused very much on the personal lives of the heroes and their loved ones and their trust in some of their teammates and the like. It isn't necessarily a big comic book event that's going to destroy the multiverse as we know it, but it was huge in its impact on those characters.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that brings up a really important point where we talked about this a little bit earlier when we were discussing the topic, but the idea of escalation or power scale, like scope creep, where not every big event has to be this is the end of the multiverse or this is
Right.
the end
yeah,
of our city, or there are lots of ways to incorporate big events that touch on a lot of the characters' lives without necessarily resulting in the end of everything.
yeah. So we're talking about an axis of time that a big comic book event will often fall into 5 or more sort of episodes or moments of as the story unfolds, and then we're looking at also a scale of it's high stakes, but not necessarily for the whole planet. Like it's something that's deeply
Yeah.
personal, or it's at least impactful in a way that spurs people to action.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead, Alex.
And it can be sort of a culmination of everything that we've been building up to for our story. Like if you have an ongoing campaign that's got multiple story arcs, maybe this is the arc where we finally take on the big villain that's been secretly orchestrating everything that's going on. Or
Yep.
maybe this is I'm thinking of like Nightfall, or No Man's Land, where Gotham gets cut off from everywhere and Batman has to deal with a very big change in the status quo, where
Hmm.
Gotham's now a post-apocalyptic wasteland
Right. And
and dealing with that.
a big event can either lead to a significant change in the status quo after the event,
Yeah,
or during the event. Oftentimes, the
Mhm.
events are about having, like No Man's Land, as Alex points out, is a big change in Gotham during that event, and then things sort of head back to normal eventually. Whereas other events are this pivotal change, and then everything after that is different.
yeah. And in our case, the introduction of fourth edition is a opportunity to
Mhm.
kind of mark the moment on the calendar when you jump from third edition to fourth edition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is a great year for people to start blowing up their campaigns if they want.
Yeah. And a couple of those folks have emailed me too. I'm going to we'll do like a special Moo Mamo off the Monday or something where we talk with them about how they're doing that, because I'm really
Mhm.
curious. And if there are folks in chat that are planning a big reboot, or planning and figuring out a way to incorporate fourth edition into your current third edition or whatever edition you're playing plans,
Yeah.
let me know and send a note to let's play at greenronin.com, and we'll talk. I would love to interview you for the sake of the community and just because I'm really curious. There's a couple comments here I wanted to. Claude says, also midway through, you got to reveal that you've lied about the basic premise of the event.
Well,
yes, that's a thing that players enjoy.
I'm sure Bruce Wayne will get the deposit back on all that wedding stuff.
Right. No doubt.
Let's see. Tempo says, I'm thinking of recent animated comic movie adaptations like DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths and Infinite Earths trilogy and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Yeah. Yep, agreed. Danny, is it Danielle or is it Daniel? I'm so sorry. I'm not sure which.
Danielle.
It's Danielle. Good. All right. I'm hoping the crossover event that's happening in my gaming group sessions right now, that one of my GMs runs a version of our current heroes in their nursing home years from now. Interesting. That would be fun. Maybe fun. I don't know. Let's see. Occasionally, in event comics, the stakes are so high as to be functionally meaningless. That's right.
As Alex says, sometimes you can make the stakes a little too high, and it does come off as kind of silly.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Jay Gary says, so like when I bring in consequences from previous arcs that kind of have accumulated over the different campaigns that can be handled as a campaign in and of itself. Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note that this can be a culmination sort of prospect, or it can just be a big change has happened and now there's a vacuum that needs to be filled. I'm thinking like the death of Superman that had the subsequent who's the next Superman adventures.
Yeah.
And sort of the competition between those characters. That's almost a big event that is starting a campaign in my mind.
Yeah.
Where you have this big event that happens. Then
much like our Emerald City Knights series of adventures, is essentially a big event comic that takes place in Earth Prime, where the Silver Storm, basically just comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden the whole character of Emerald City has changed. There are all these new people with superpowers, and presumably also the player characters, get involved, and you've got a whole, different, sort of element to the setting afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly enough, I'm playing in a game right now with Devious as the GM, and we are having so much fun. And it is as the Silver Storm happens, and then what happens afterward, which is really a fun story.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I think this is a good way to say it. Scaled stakes that are unprecedented in one way or another. Yeah, sure. That's an interesting.
That's a good way of putting it.
Let's see. Agreed. Yeah, I like it too. Daniel says, I like it too when you experience potential for big character growth or change that resulted from decisions made in a big event. Yeah.
You can really do some interesting things with that. It's important to have a good sense of your players when you're doing that, especially if you're proposing character moments or decisions that are potentially controversial. I can think of, for example, in Operation Galactic Storm, there's a moment where basically the Avengers debate killing the Kree Supreme Intelligence when they find out that it's behind the whole thing and has essentially, murdered billions of beings, and it splits the team, over it. And that's hugely dramatic, but it's also the kind of drama you have to be very careful introducing if it's really going to split your players and not just their characters, over it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at Owen's write-up of as silly as No Man's Land is for the way they did it. It's easy to imagine a Joker virus rather than gas, which causes Gotham to be quarantined rather than declared not part of the USA. No more S.H.I.E.L.D., no more heroes dropping in from Bloodhaven. I like that. Yeah. And Bernard says, I always look at big events that have significant storylines, Secret Wars, Crisis on Infinite Earth, Dark Phoenix story arc. Yeah, absolutely. I will say Marvel did kind of burn me out on some of those. That's right about when I was like, I can't buy 30 comics every time I want to do a story.
that's the problem with comic book events, is that they, are one of those things where it's like, oh, these sell,
Yeah.
so let's
Yep.
do 10 more of them. you know
Yeah, absolutely. They wrung me dry, and I was just like, ugh. And then the Phoenix event kind of made me mad. Just sort of the way they rolled it out, and I was like, oh, I'm quitting. And now I just lug around thousands of comic books wherever I move. Never looking at them again. But let's see. DC's KO, and I'm not. This is a second time I've seen it mentioned. I'm not really familiar with this.
Yeah, that was just recently, in fact. And I have only just started to catch up with it because I'm reading all of my comics on the apps, and I'm like 6 months behind.
Right. Yeah. So some kind of a battle they were in, or some kind of like where they fighting each other.
Yeah, it was a lot of P versus P matchups and the like, ostensibly over the death of Darkseid and his eventual resurrection, as I understand it.
Interesting.
I think that is something we should probably talk about for these big events, is that while it's not always required, but there is often an element of PvP in a lot of these events.
Yes, there really is.
Yeah, especially things like Civil War or other events where there's a divide in the hero groups.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Grognon's here, everybody. We can start.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Ideally, for those things, in my opinion, again, unless your group is really good at playing adversarial, is to keep all the player characters on one side of that fight. If it is going to be a hero versus hero conflict, get a bunch of NPCs together to be on the other side, and give them good reason for the player character heroes to fight them.
Yeah. No, Grognar, you were one of those folks that brought this up. That, like I told you you guys a couple weeks ago, when 4E comes out, my major events to lay my old comic universe to rest and start a brand new one. That's exciting. Can't wait to talk to you about that. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Owen brings up you can also do big events as as natural disasters, earthquake, tidal waves, massive city fire.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could have topological changes. It could have all kinds of, is that right? Topological?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, changing the map, essentially.
Yeah. Topographical.
Yeah, topographical.
Yeah, I don't know what topological is, but usually there's a major sea change. That's what. Yeah, I think that whether we say major, we mean it on both the individual. It's major to me, or it's major to the world, or that's the kind of the scale. Hey, Paul, there's Paul now. Good morning, sir. There are some neat stories where events are mentioned, but the focus is on the effect on minor characters. The nearness of you, love fights, or crowd control episodes.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, as folks mentioned, like with the Cask of Ancient Winters storyline, a lot of the peripheral stuff was just, characters in other books dealing with, hey, why is it snowing?
Right. Yeah, this is really good advice too. Yeah, don't turn your campaign into the Nuremberg trials without knowing if your group will be into it.
Yeah. Indeed.
Important stuff. Absolutely.
It's probably just good general advice.
Right.
And we end up saying it nearly every episode, but it starts by sitting down and making sure that you don't have to give away all the goodies, but you definitely want to have a conversation so that people are like, oh, I don't care for whatever this is.
Yeah.
It would be a bummer. Let's see. Bernard says, realistically, I think all GMs run games with comic book big events as the basis of their stories. That's true. I mean, it can,
Generally speaking, yeah. I mean, I think that they're obviously, big milestones in comic book history. So I think most superhero GMs are going to be aware of them.
Yeah. And Paul, I was wondering, from your perspective, friend, when you're thinking of big comic book style events, when you kind of mentioned this, I think your mind might have been on the 4th edition. And kind of how to orchestrate or construct that. Let me know. Let's see. Oh no! Hot take says Mastermind Pook. Civil War remains the absolute worst comic book worst comic book event in history. Just dumb.
Yeah.
Now, is this Civil War the one where they were all kind of beamed away, or there was Secret
No,
War.
that's Secret Wars.
That's Secret War.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Civil War was the conflict largely between Captain America and Iron Man over the Superhero Registration Act.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it breaks the cardinal rule that if you are on the side opposing Captain America, you are the bad guy.
I get it. Okay, I get it. Final
Could have been a
night.
lot better, but there was just, I don't know, it wasn't handled well, and a lot of characters acted like they would not act. I
Yeah.
like the movie version of it a lot better, for what that's worth.
Final Night is a great example of a disaster event on a huge scale. I'm not
It
familiar
is.
with the story.
Final Night is a DC event where essentially a giant alien monster eats the sun, and the heroes have to both find a way to reverse that and protect an Earth that is gradually freezing, essentially, as all of the life-giving energy is going out.
Yeah, well, everybody knows you kind of rub its tummy until it comes out the other end.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how
It's
you
just
do it.
math.
Oh, thank
Just
you,
like
Owen. So I'm kind of right.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, sure, why not? I'll take that as a win. Let's see. Usually okay, let me see. Funny stuff. Yes. Hey, Grognard. Discord. I love Discord. It's my favorite. I will jump in and I will make sure that I capture that message from you. But thank you for letting me know. Let's see. Ultimate Marvel had Crisis crossover event called Ultimatum.
Yep.
Where Magneto flooded New York City and killed various characters after the possible loss of his children, Wanda and Pietro. Yeah, dark.
Right.
Let's see. So if we're planning, one of the things that I want to get into, and maybe a little bit more in future episodes as well, is sort of the nitty gritty of it all. Like, what kind of tools or things would you suggest? Let's say I'm getting ready. Let's see. The story is I've got a table that I've been running a game for years, and I'm going to make this transition. What are some things that I might want to have on hand, or processes I might want to acknowledge as I'm building towards that event?
Well, go.
No, yeah, no.
Sorry. So I guess one of the things you're going to want to consider is just like a regular adventure, the sort of timeline of the event involved. If there's a series of things that are going to build on each other, then you want to take all of those into account, with the possibility that the player character heroes are going to be involved and things might shift around depending on what they do. I think for if you're going to do a big crossover type event where there's going to be a lot of guest star type characters, that one fun way of approaching it is to split the player characters up over the series of adventures and let the players play different characters in different segments of the adventure.
I love that.
So that each one features one regular player character and a bunch of other guest star characters. So the players get to inhabit different characters over the course of the adventure, and you get to see things from a lot of different angles.
Oh, that's fun. I like that a lot.
Yeah, do it that way, like Steve says. Don't be like me and run a game with 11 to 14 players at the table
simultaneously.
Don't do it.
That is hilarious.
I've handled it before in the past and people had a good time, but do not make my mistakes.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Eric Dorsfender says, I always loved the Infinity Gauntlet, War and Crusade events, and I'm a huge Adam Warlock fan. Nice.
Yeah, classic giant crossover.
Oh, this is good. This is some good stuff too. Owen Casey Stevens, for build up, I like foreshadowing. It doesn't have to be a mystery the heroes solve. It can just be signs that something odd or weird or different is coming. Yeah,
absolutely. I have been known in some games to do foreshadowing scenes for the players that are just moments where we step into sort of the omniscient comic book reader point of view. And I'll just describe a scene that their characters, and I'll tell them, like, your characters don't know this, but some distance away, in somebody's secret lair, this is happening. And give them, the players, a look at what's coming without their characters necessarily being aware of it. Although you can also foreshadow in ways the characters are aware as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing to think about is the source of the extra characters that are showing up. Are they extra player characters that the players already have? Or maybe it's a situation where there's multiversal variants, or one thing that I really like doing is going to an alternate Earth where the heroes are villains and they have to team up with their villains and maybe get the chance to play with their villains' character sheets for a couple of sessions to just see how similar or how different they might be from their primary
That's
player
super
characters.
fun. Yeah, that's a ton of fun. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at our time.
It's also a great opportunity if you have somebody coming in from out of town who might need to step in to play a game, or you want to entertain while they're visiting, and you don't want to just have you want to continue what's going on in your game without having necessarily a bunch of context for your out of town friend to catch up with, but they can jump in for a session and still propel things forward.
Yeah.
Very cool. How do you prepare people who are coming in for a one-shot visit? I don't often see that happen in
I'm not the person to ask that question to.
Yeah. I just don't I just have never seen that one shot guest.
Well, I mean, the ideal way to do it, in my experience, is to set them up with a character in a situation where they don't have to know much. So if it's for example, your character is from an alien planet or a parallel Earth or whatever, like you haven't been to this Earth before, and so literally when they show up and they're like, "Who are you guys?" They can honestly ask, like I don't know any of these guys, sort of a thing, and you just set them up with a premise of this is what who your character is and what they want, and then go from there.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is great, Owen. I'm just
hear me out.
Yeah.
Send a Discord message that says, "Go with me on this" in the moment.
Yep.
Yeah. I like this. Owen says, I had a GM with full player buy-in briefly do a villains game where the players each made a villain and the villains unleashed a major evil that then the heroes also had to fight. That's clever. I like that.
Yeah.
Paul mentions, I love the idea. I love that kind of foreshadowing. It reminds me of Wolfman and Perez. NNT?
New Teen Titans.
New Teen Titans and Burns, and Burns,
Fantastic
Four, which I love that art style, but I heard he was kind of a jerk. They plant the seeds of future stories months in advance. Yeah, that is kind of fun, and it is kind of that's where I think you're safe to bring in some surprises. It is when you're, if you've got something you planned a long time, and you can, I think it's that moment of the clues were right in front of us this whole time and we didn't know. It was just really a fun way to do it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see. We'll do this and then we're going to do a quick break. SC Terra Marine says, I had a thought about a massive M&M event where the players and every hero on the planet battles the ultimate alliance of evil, where every villain in the Freedom City universe teams up. Teams up.
That's a lot of villains. That's a big spreadsheet.
A lot. Yeah.
That is a lot. Absolutely. Let's see. Michael in chat, I'm not sure what that means.
One thing that massive crossovers, especially ones illustrated by George Perez, do extremely well, that is hard to do at the game table, is the giant crowd scenes of characters, interacting or fighting or just standing all looking up, being awed by something, because it's a lot of description, and a picture truly is worth like 5,000 words in those instances. It's hard to include all of that sort of thing where it's like, in a giant battle of 500 supervillains, it's like, well, this guy does something, he's there. But, I can't tell you more than that because we have to get on to the next thing.
Right.
Yeah. If you are looking for a way to kind of handle that in M&M terms, I've run some epic combat scenes like that, like sort of the end of end game, where all the heroes show up and everybody gets like a moment. A check sequence will do you a lot better than a full combat
in
those moments. and then maybe a standard combat centered around Thanos or the big bad guy.
Yeah.
While everybody else is working on getting the gauntlet to where it goes to be in the time machine. It's all still an initiative, but instead of rolling out, all right, I have to knock all of these villains out, you can just have them make a skill check and base the narrative on how many degrees of success they get.
Yeah.
Love that. There was a mention. This is a clever way too. If this is how you kind of orchestrated your hero villain.
Yes, the Acts of Vengeance scheme.
Yeah, super fun. I love the idea of instead of having all the villains team up, have the villains swap targets. I like that.
That is a classic plot.
Yeah, super fun. Okay, well, so hey, we've got a quick video that I want to play, and it's from our friends at Immersive Realms who are working on bringing Mutants Masterminds 3rd edition and 4th edition to Foundry.
Very exciting.
Kind of exciting.
Love it.
Ask me. Let me do this. And hi, buddy. You're gonna be doing it yourself. Here we go. I'm gonna play this, and hopefully it's loud enough. Nice.
Right?
I feel like I was just in a Blade fight scene.
I know, right?
Right? Big Batman Beyond vibes.
I'm dropping a link to the video, but I'm also going to. So here's what we need to do to support our friends doing this stuff. We need them to. Let me turn that off. We need y'all to sign up for the to be notified when the backer kit is going to be live. And let me go back to that. I want to grab the link. Yeah, I'm super excited for these guys. They're doing a lot of work. Now, this doesn't mean that we aren't going to do stuff for Roll20. There definitely will be, but it definitely means finally we're going to have some good functioning stuff happening on Foundry for Mutants Masterminds, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Devious dropped the link for y'all to clickety click and get over there. Drop your name in and be notified. It's just the math shows that when people do that, the more people that sign up to get notified, the more successful the campaign is.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And we definitely want to see all our Mutants Masterminds goodies played well on Foundry.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chad, of course, is just going bonkers. They like it.
They're very shui.
Say that again.
They're very shui.
Shui.
Shui? I don't know what's shui.
That's a Batman Beyond reference.
I see. I see.
Future kids being cool.
Yeah, exactly. Super shui then. And so running big comic book style events, what are, we kind of have sort of blended in sort of concerns or things to look out for. I think that is there other elements that, I do like. The comic book world is filled with tropes, things that you would expect to happen. But I do think when it comes to these big comic book style events, that you do run the risk of, kind of, I think somebody even said it, an event being so huge and so cosmically important that it just renders it meaningless,
Yeah.
And I think, how do you balance, let's say that everyone agrees to that, hey, yeah, I'm in on this event. And how do you manage the stakes? Because you don't really want to be, killing everybody in your campaign. I mean, unless that's the thing everybody's agreed
probably.
to, which is kind of weird.
You don't want to kill everybody in your campaign.
Well, yeah, I guess that is to a point. Yeah, give it a cool name. I like that.
Yeah, that helps.
It does, actually.
I think it also helps to define duration and scope, and what the ultimate, not what's going to happen, because you don't want to spoil it for the players, but sort of what your ultimate intended consequences of the event are. Like, let your players know we're moving into a new edition, so this is all the marbles, blow up everybody you want to blow up, do all the cool stuff that we've ever wanted to do with these characters, because we might be in a whole new edition and we have a chance to shake up everything. Or at the end of this, we will have a new legacy hero. So, like, the Rise of the New Scarab can be an event in an early game. And still finding ways to make things personal for the characters within that grand narrative.
Now, Grognar brings up something interesting, which is I run every session, excuse me, issue to issue. Major events aren't ever planned. They do pop up naturally from time to time. Sure. And I think you reached a level of trust and engagement and exchange with the players, with people who are around your table, that I think everybody should aspire to. I mean, that's a really fun way to do it. But I think it really does depend on some real strong relationships and understanding.
It does.
Yeah.
The give and take.
It comes down to game master philosophy. I saw somebody earlier in chat mentioned a lot of games don't do villain of the week adventures, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that could just be the way I approach my storytelling as opposed to the way another GM approaches their storytelling.
Right. And I'll say, I think that it's a mistake for us to presume there's a norm, but in the games that I've played in, just by necessity, it has been sort of the villain of the week and sort of who stole my hostess pies kind of thing,
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's very true. And oftentimes, if you are just running sort of adventure to adventure, and a big event story can be almost like starting a new campaign in some ways.
Yeah.
Because it shifts the focus so much, and it has its own duration that lasts multiple adventures. It can really take up a lot of its own kind of energy in terms of being really different from just hey, we played this one adventure, a whole series of one shots essentially.
Hey, your question, the video we played was for 3rd edition and 4th edition.
Yes.
Yeah.
3rd edition and eventually 4th edition as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a good point, Mr. Sullivan, which is big events don't need to center around destruction. The wedding of Reed Richards and Susan Storm, the wedding of Green Arrow and Black Canary, or weddings period. Yeah, weddings, or, there could be. Go ahead, Steve.
That said, of course, the wedding of Reed Richards and Susan Storm was attacked by all of the Fantastic Four's enemies. And the birth of their first child involved them having to go into the negative zone and fight a Nihilus. So
there we go. So pretty epic.
Well, freaking the Flash's wedding in the Arrowverse series got invaded by Nazis.
By Nazis from an alternate Earth. So,
they killed a major character in Legends of Tomorrow in that crossover.
Yeah,
and they never talk about it. They don't even bring it up. And watching one Arrowverse show without watching all of them leads to some very confusing moments.
Yes, as is the nature of crossovers, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Good foreshadowing. The health. Let's see. The health and food inspector walks into your Big Belly Burger and tells you pimply faced teen at the counter to take a cigarette break.
Yeah, I got I had the lovely experience of playing with Michael in chat this weekend at Buckeye Game Fest.
Oh, was that fun?
It was fun. He was a great Martian Manhunter.
Excellent.
Let's see. John says,
poor Cecil was the Big Belly Burger employee who was
I
told to take a
see.
walk. We've decided he might be Condiment King's sidekick in the future.
That's great. John mentions one could run an event as a capstone to a campaign, anything from defeating the team's greatest foe once and for all, or halting the world-ending threat at the cost of permanent changes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would also say a big event like this is also a good launching point for a new series.
Yes.
They do that in the Justice League cartoon. Emerald City Knights starts off that way.
Yeah.
Yep. In fact, if you plan it well, it can even do both. End one campaign and start another.
It's even better than Everybody Meets at a Coffee Shop.
Drummadog says
the superhero version of Everybody Meets at a Tavern.
I like that. Like when Barry and Iris got married on a different show.
Yep.
Right. Let's see here. GM tip. Look at PC edges and vulnerabilities. Okay. Dr. Enigma's immunity to madness never come up. Make it important now. Or Captain Amazing's weakness to lime. Never mattered. Time for Lime League.
Yep. Well, and especially because those sort of underplayed elements of the character could make them pivotal in this whole event. If it's the hero who is somehow immune to madness, and the whole event is about the great old ones, finally returning to Earth, and it's like, well, now it's your moment. Because you're the one who has to step up to, stop the nameless one from driving everyone in the universe mad.
Right. Tempo has brought this up a couple times, and that is just maybe crossovers that weren't so good. The crossover event between Valiant Comics and Image Comics, their level end worlds, it nearly ended both companies. Yeah, that's a rough one. Which, I mean, the corollary there, I mean, the connection to running a story for someone around people around your table is you got to talk to them first. Get a sense of if they're ready for that. Little market research. This is true. One could also consider the consequences of heroes being defeated and then launching a new campaign where new or existing heroes deal with the consequences.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's one of the things I love about Mutants Masterminds is to take a moment that is a loss and turn it into some compelling story. I love that.
Just realized I have a moment where we could talk about musical episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just anything that shakes up the status quo like that, I think, or it just changes the format of the story that you're telling. I think could fall under this category.
Yeah.
I think every campaign should have a musical episode at least once.
I love it.
That's my hot take for games.
I think it's fun. Not nearly enough singing heroic, TTRPG moments, which I love. The other thing I was going to say is I have been trying to get the Mutants Masterminds community. I mean, generally just anybody who is within earshot. So it could be all the communities. I want to do a talent show, but it has to be a digital talent show. And so I'm not sure why nobody wants to join me in doing it, but I think it could be a lot of fun. I'll get so many naysayers that you look at me just like Steve is looking at me now. Kind of that all.
This is the divide between introverted nerds and theater kids.
Yes, it is.
Right on display.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's great. Let's see. Paul says, give your PC's knowledge unique to them. In one campaign, I had dinosaurs invade the city. Everyone fought them, but only the PCs knew how to stop it. Yeah, absolutely.
Indeed.
I like that. Perhaps the cakes were actually yellow cake uranium. Yes. Yeah, it's more. Yeah.
Oh,
more
the 40 cakes that Lex Luthor stole.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is quite a few cakes when you think.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot of cakes. Yeah. You should do it. You should let us know, Jason, if you got one cooking.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Alex needs to do a memo on just how to do a musical episode.
I think so too. Just talking like script and how do you handle people who can't sing?
How do you pull it off?
Yeah.
I'd like to know.
See you
It's hard.
later. See you later.
Harder
Barnett.
and easier than it looks.
Harder than easy. Yeah, harder and also easier.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think it is the ultimate exercise in one of my game master rules where the players will give you the energy that you give them. I think that is, if you could pull that off, if you show that it's safe, and like we'll just do an episode about it, but I think it's the best exercise for, I want my players to do more of this, so how do I show them more of this?
Yeah, that's true in general.
Listen, Owen, this is the kind of idea that I love, and I really think that everyone should be thinking in those same terms. Can you do something weird with your body? Maybe it's a part of the talent show, and and maybe it's not about winning a prize. It's just about displaying a kind of talent, which could be a weird flexibility that is useful to no one, including yourself. Let's see. Yeah, this is interesting, Owen. I'm wondering too, when we were talking about what that structure is, maybe it's interesting for a person to evaluate what's the structure they run their games with, and then how do other people do it, which is kind of fun to change it up a bit. Oh, that's nice. I like this. That's a good way to recognize talent. Maybe you put them all together in one show. It could be a talent show, huh, Apuk?
Right. It's a lot of hero points.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, we got about 15 minutes left. Other elements or things that we want to think about as it relates to running big comic book style events. The chat, of course, I also want to remind folks, you definitely want to, if you're watching on demand, go hit the live chat, because there's a lot of really great suggestions, a lot of funny things, and a lot of things I won't repeat.
Yes, exactly. There's a whole additional layer to the show in there.
There really is. Yeah, there really is. Yeah. So I'm thinking, one of the things that we don't lack in is plot hooks to hang your big event on.
Yep.
And I feel like, we've covered a lot of the cautionary stuff, like, don't burn people out on big events all the time, not too many people in your crossover, have your players play as the new people so that you're still able to manage it. Anything that we've missed or thoughts that we should?
Well, I think that you should, in a big event, try and provide some moments for the player characters to take some really big swings at things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And encourage that. I mean, generally in superhero games, you want to encourage the players to think big, and to be fairly quick to jump into action. A lot of RPGs encourage fairly cautious thinking, and I think that's sometimes kind of a hard habit to break when you're playing a superhero game. And I think for big events, you really want to encourage the players to take some risks, and make sure that those opportunities pay off for them, and also to allow for the opportunity for players to really change some things up. If somebody wants to really try something different with their character, and like, I want to redesign my character, or I want them to have this different power, or what have you, or even I want to, retire this character and replace them with their successor. The big event is a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, great advice. And in this, I was thinking of this. Gene asks, how many parts would you give a story? And I guess it could be part 1, part 2. It could be part 5. What would you say that the big event, comic book style event, looks like? Is it 3 or more? Is it 2 or more?
In my opinion, I would say anything less than 3 game sessions is a little too short for a big event.
Okay. Yeah. That feels right.
And probably anything much longer than 6 starts to get. I mean, you could go, maybe a little longer, to 8 or so, but beyond that, you're starting to get kind of like, it's not an event anymore; it's just your campaign.
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah,
Sullivan.
I tend to agree. I think 5 is a good spot. I mean, that's what Nether
Yeah.
Wars 5 adventures, Emerald City Nights, I think, is 5 or 6
Is
adventures.
6, yeah.
Yeah, don't listen to me. I turned Nether War into a 54-week thing. So, but that was my campaign. I was running
Right,
Nether
but
War
that
as
is
a
the campaign. Yeah.
Oh, I
So
like
I
this too. Yeah, I
intentionally
mean,
defanged it and changed it and moved it around.
Mm-hmm.
speaking of changing things around, this is interesting. Pull your players out of the environment they're used to being in, and zero G. And we've talked about this in the past too. How do players' powers change when exposed to different environments, whether it's under the water or zero G, or
Yep.
a lot of fun to be had there.
Going to a new environment's always fun. Like going to a new location, like going to this is the Atlantis arc, or we're going to the moon.
Yeah,
Or
and it's
we're going to
also
be on Toon's Death Show.
like
Right.
Owen mentions, it's also a really good time to make sure that you are. I mean, maybe players do want to rewrite their powers. Maybe, especially if you've been doing it for a while, and I notice for me, as I get used to a particular character, I'm like, oh shoot, I wish I would have done this or adjusted that, and it's always kind of a nice opportunity to rejigger all the stuff that you're doing. Yeah.
Well, and to me, there's the combination. There's a bunch of different ways you can let players just sort of retcon bits about their characters.
Yeah.
And I always, if somebody has buyer's remorse about something where they're just like, oh, like I thought this ability was going to be useful and it turns out that it's not, or it just doesn't do what I want it to do, I'm usually fine with, just sort of quietly changing that and being like, yeah, fine, like change it.
Absolutely.
We'll just pretend it was always that way.
I like that.
And there's also that sort of quiet advancement of adding small things and changes and things like that. But then there's also that dramatic, I just want to completely change my character. And that usually should be a moment in the game.
I love the New Mutants, and I can't remember who was the artist that did the New Mutants.
Art Adams.
Oh, it's gorgeous! Just absolutely one of my favorites. So well done.
Yeah.
Truly,
that was one of his best arcs too.
Oh yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Loved it. All right, friends. Well, so how about we do this? We've got a few minutes. Why don't we find out what's going on with you two guys? Steve, what's happening in the Steve Kenson cinematic universe?
Well, I am working on post Kickstarter projects, and the most recent thing that I have moved forward is our previews for the backers for the 4th edition. Folks who have backed the Kickstarter starting in a few weeks. We are going to start rolling out the sample chapters of the Hero's Handbook, and this will just be a look at the text that hasn't been laid out yet. But you'll see essentially the finished, text of the book over the course of several weeks.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, that's exciting for folks.
Yeah.
And you said that rolls out starting
I believe we're going to start in beginning of April.
April. Gotcha. So very soon, very, very soon. Fantastic. Very exciting stuff. Alex, you've got a million things cooking. What's happening?
Well, I just got back from a lovely weekend at Buckeye Game Fest. Ran a couple of really fun games for some nice folks. And current projects, I'm working on converting the adventures from 3E to 4E for the Kickstarter. And on Thursday, we're starting a brand new Titan City serial. This one's called Graveyard Shift, and it features a group of player characters who are the undead minions of the supervillain, the Gravedigger, doing their best to prop up his alien empire or undermine it. We'll see what happens.
Very fun.
So sort of a Weekend at Bernie's kind of vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
That is so good. I love it. And then do you have something going on tonight?
Yeah, I've got my office hours. I'll be starting about 15 minutes early tonight. So in about 15 minutes ish, I'll be playing some games. We're doing Baldur's Gate 3 tonight for my friend Kat's birthday. So stop by if you want to hang out with us as we murder hope our way through the Forgotten Realms.
Love that. Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out for the show and for getting into what it's like or what it should be like to run big comic book style events for your Mutants Masterminds game. I learned some stuff.
right?
I'm gonna go dig up my mutants or my New Mutants in Asgard comics because
Yeah, it was
I
such a good story.
can't wait to read them again. Awesome. Well, I think for that, then we will say to you guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you next Monday.
Take care, everybody.
Ciao.
Cheers.
We have so much going on, and some of that stuff is happening in the Grad. What's the Grad, you ask? Well, it's the Green Ronin Atomic Assembly Discord. It's our official Discord. We've got developers hanging out. We got all kinds of stuff happening. We try to keep you apprised of all the events that are coming, and there are going to be some big ones. Not the least of which will be our GM training for people for Mutants Masterminds. We're kicking that off as part of the Atomic Think Tank program, which is it basically focuses on getting our members of the Cape and Cal Club training other people on how to play Mutants and Masterminds. We're really excited about this. It's going to be a lot of fun. There are going to be some boot camps that'll happen in Discord and announcements, all that kind of good stuff. The link is in chat right now. Get in there and Grognard asks us, "Hey, is the cover really going back to the old logo?" Well, yeah, it's the older logo with the 4th edition words on there. But yes, there's that. And then, of course, you want to get into the Atomic Think Tank. What is the Atomic Think Tank? Well, it's a community hub. It's hosted on Mighty Networks, and I think we are getting close to our 3,000 member mark. Really excited about that, and there's none on this planet better to well, actually, let me do this first. I want to see this. There we go. Look at the month. So much going on. Really good stuff happening. We are right now on the 16th. There at the bottom of the calendar, we've got all kinds of good stuff. The primetime things, anything you see with the Crown, that's for the Cape and Cal Club. They pay $8 a month and get access to some different stuff. But all the stuff that we're going to be talking about with our buddy Devious is going to be, generally speaking, a free. Isn't that correct, my friend?
Well, yes, we do have a couple of Cape and Cal events coming up, but almost everything you see, 90%, as you say,
99%, I'd say.
99% is free. I'll buy that for $99.99. No, it's
$99.99.
We have the many hundreds of articles in the Freedom City Library. We've got hundreds of assets there too now, especially with Paul Rua doing some amazing work in Hero Forge, and he's remaking now the 1st edition characters from Metaphor. Just fantastic stuff.
Oh, it looks so good. Yeah, it looks great.
Before we get too much into that, I did want to let you guys know that there is somebody who has reached out on Reddit, and there was a member of the community called MD Snowman who had tons of great characters that he did, both DC, Marvel, a lot of other characters as well in the Mutants Mastermind system. But he passed away about 3 years ago. And what she's doing is she's reaching out to the community to see if there are any copies that people have, any archived records that they have of her character, of his characters, the ones that
the work that he put together. Yeah.
Exactly. And she says she has currently the DC and Marvel booklets, M&M booklets, but she believes there's more bills out there shared over the years. There's a link I've placed on there to the story on Reddit, and also she goes by Junk Holiday on Reddit. So if you do have any of that information, search your archives, search your hard drives, check that out, see if you got it, and I'm sure she'd appreciate it.
Nice.
Getting back into the Freedom City Library, we have 3 articles, 2 of which are the fantastic articles that Paul Rua, the wonder from down under, has put together on the Metaphor characters. Now, this one is the villains
so cool.
Here. He's got the Atomic Brain, Geppetto, the Hyena, Kalak the Mystic, Rimlock the Rover, and Damocles.
Look how well those come across in Hero Forge. That's so neat.
They are so amazing. Look at that. Just fantastic work.
Oh,
now,
cool.
Also, he's done the heroes that were the 1st edition heroes, of course, as well. He's got here Cyclone, Gimmick the Gadget Girl, Marathon, Minotaur, Protonic, and the Pugilist, and they're all there for free. If you want to go there, if you get a Hero Forge account, you just have to click on these links. It'll
Cool.
open it up so you can, if you want to, you can order it, or you can play with it, change it, do what you want to it. It's absolute fantastic links. I've also put in an article myself, and basically, I'm going to be honest with you, this is one of those Grand Theft article situations.
Yeah.
I basically copied it, and I put Sean Duggan's name on here. I believe
Dugan.
he's Fuzzy Boots on the old forums.
Yeah.
But he put together basically information on Metaphor and the lore that was shared by its creators at Super Unicorn. So if
Yeah.
you want to find out more about the Metaphor universe, you can definitely do that.
Sean
Man,
Duggan's a longtime friend of the show as well. We really like Sean. Yeah.
absolutely. And I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that those guys at Super Unicorn see that new license information that's coming out in the near future and go, hey, we could put this out again. Now, I do want to give you some sad news. Matt Mabray, Chris Davies, and Steinbrewer, and they all took the week off.
Well, good, because I mean, I say we've got thousands of stat blocks in there in the Aegis files. They can take a breather. That's all right.
I mean, literally. I mean, where I'm proud to say there's hundreds of articles in the Freedom City Library. There are literally thousands of characters for free. They're in the Aegis files. You can go and take a look at it, but they are some of the hardworkingest men in character creation.
Yeah,
and they
again,
usually do 5 to 20, sometimes even characters a week. Take the time off. You've earned it.
But here's the thing, these stat blocks that they're making, they're not just making them to look pretty. They're making them so you can borrow them. You can borrow them and utilize them in your campaign. And the ideas span from other cultures, alternate universes, all kinds of really fun stuff, original stuff. There'll be some, you name it, it's in there, and it's easy to find. You got to kind of dig in and look around, and you will no doubt find something quite to your liking. Maybe even something you didn't expect.
Absolutely. And moving on to events, of course, we have this week we had the Mumama that was just done. We have office hours coming up tonight. Alex mentioned those as well. It's a great resource to go in there, say hi to him, talk with him, and he gives you some information. We do have a little information about the Cape and Cow Club. There's no links there. You have to be in the Cape and Cow Club to get there. But if you just check the events in the clubhouse, if you're in there, there's a great dev chat coming up tomorrow. Thursday, we have Titan City Serials. As Alex mentioned, a brand new adventure starts this Thursday, Graveyard Shift, A Day in the Unlife. We also have Birds of a Feather from Untold Stories Project, where Alex plays Elvis Pexley, the rather Elvis-like rooster. A bit of a crooner there. Birds of a Feather, Hard Pill to Swallow is the next one coming out. Thursday, we have Getting Tanked with Troy office hours. All call. You want to get in there, you want to say hi, you want to catch up with Troy, and you know what, Troy, tell us a little about it. I apologize.
Well, it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. Everybody's welcome to join. Basically, it's an opportunity to sit down and remind me of something I've forgotten, or just hang out with a bunch of cool people. It's a blast, and you are all you got to do is jump into the tank, look for the live event. You'll see the bug. It'll say live, and click on that link, open up the event, and you will see the Zoom link, and you can join us. It's a lot of fun. Maybe you got to come a little late. That's okay. Maybe you got to drop in and drop out. That's okay too. It's a real chill situation. Now this is what I'm really excited about. I'll talk a bit about this. I decided that we needed a kind of a new meeting for the Cape and Cow clubs and Cape and Cow Club members, and essentially it's the Cape and Cow Club Society. It's everybody's invited, and it's one of the, not everybody who's a part of the Cape and Cow Club is invited to hang out. It's a great place for new people to connect and kind of find out what's going on, ask questions about where to find certain bits and bobs of stuff that's been available for the Cape and Cow, and we include all the old Patreon stuff, and it's just there's a lot to dig around and find out about, and a lot of catch up when they want to kind of learn about what the what the project was we worked on last workshop session, which was the Pinewood project, and all that good stuff. Find out that and more. It's a real casual. So if you're a member of the Cape and Cowl Club and you're like, whoa, I need more information, that's where you go to hang out, meet some new people, and make some new friends.
Right. And think of it as a virtual ice cream social.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
The
But it's fun.
toppings.
It's fun, and it's just for Cape and Cowl Club members. So yeah, get in there and ask away. Ask all the questions you get.
Right. And next week on Mumamo, the topic is villains as allies,
Ooh,
mixed
fun.
alignment parties,
Looking
suggested by
forward to
SD Terra Marine. Looking forward to that.
Fun.
Do you trust the man at your left and right, or woman at the left? And
Generally,
right?
no, but you know.
Yes, well, that's true. But that is what we have in the tank this week. And again, if you want to get to the backer kit, there's the link for it at the very bottom of
Cool.
what's in the tank this week. Thank you so much for putting that video up. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a great video.
And that is what's in the tank.
Fantastic. Well, friends, you know what that means? It means that it's time to say goodbye. My thanks to chat and, of course, Steve and Alex, and Devious, thanks to you. I appreciate all that you do. We'll be back next Monday. And don't forget about Thursday. So it's coming up this Thursday as well. That'll happen at 3 p.m. Pacific this coming Thursday. You're going to hang out with me and a bunch of nerds as we build a whole new world using Sage, the simple adventure game engine. It's a lot of fun. So with that, I say to you, Devious, goodbye.
Bye-bye.